I was able to use ISTE standards for teachers throughout the entire course of IDT 3600. The first standard is facilitate and inspire student learning and creativity. Number one, I would use Kidspiration to make a graphic organizer. This was probably one of the most creative things that I did all semester. Could use as many different colors and shapes to represent pretty much anything you want when you're teaching. The second is using Toondoo to create a comic explaining the different seasons. I really enjoyed this assignment. I actually used a comic in my final lesson plan. Students can pretty much be as creative as they want in a comic strip. It allows them to use what they have learned and then illustrate it. The third thing would be my field experience. At the very end of my lesson, I allowed Miss Osias's third grade class to make a creative list of things that they would bring on their trip to Antarctica. Number two, design and develop digital age learning experiences and assessments. I definitely learned a lot about this with the WebQuest and the PowerPoint and my final lesson plan. First, with the WebQuest, students would be able to go online, and there's based on directions, they go to different sites and learn about whatever content is presented, and then they're asked questions on either online or on a worksheet in the class about what they've learned. Second would be the PowerPoint. I did a PowerPoint on weather and seasons, and throughout the whole presentation there were quizzes for them to answer based on the content in the presentation. The third thing was my final lesson plan on the United States branches of government. The students had to use the internet to do their research, and then they were able to personalize their very own comic using Toondoo. And this was kind of, if I were to be grading this assignment, I'd be able to tell what they had learned based on the content within their comic. If it made sense and it followed the three branches, then I knew they were understanding the branches of government. Number three, model digital age work and learning. The screencast, the lecture capture, and field experience were all great ways to learn these standards as a teacher. Screencast, I used this tool to explain how to use PowerPoint on a computer, and you could pretty much screencast whatever you would like as a teacher, whether you're wanting to send it home for students to look at later or even parents. That would be awesome. Second is lecture capture. This is a great tool to use in my classroom one day so I can send information via YouTube videos or podcasts to parents. And this is my original work, so I don't have to worry about copyright issues. It's all mine, and my students they have any access to this. Field experience, the use of Prezi. I used it in my lecture for my students when I was teaching them, and then I used a smartboard for my interactive whiteboard activity, and the students were able to come and show that they knew how to use this tool, and I was able to practice with it as well. The fourth is promote and model digital citizenship and responsibility. Throughout the semester, I had to cite several websites and images on my original work. My interactive learning activity, it required citing the websites using all 10 games. These games were for learning, and we had to make sure that they were all cited. The second, each lesson plan that I did corresponded with a particular grade and state standard for the grade. All the activities for students in the Tilt Lab were for their age, and they were for their grade. So for example, in my field experience, my activity was suitable for a third grade student. The third thing, sending my final activity for campus school students to my field experience teacher, Ms. Kaufman. I created the interactive board, and so I sent it to Ms. Kaufman via email, and then she uploaded it to Ms. Osias's class Weebly. Number five, engage in professional growth and leadership. Working in my field experience with Ms. Kaufman, Ms. Osias, and Ms. Kruger, this was a great time to practice as a professional because my peers were our future teachers, and the people above me are teachers, and they were able to give any instruction, extra help during the field experience process. And then my field experience group, there were 2 other people in my group, and there was 2 different lessons that Miss Osias wanted us to teach. So we had to sit down and decide who was going which week and who wanted to teach what lesson. And I ended up having to teach on my own because there was only 3 of us in a group, and I was happy to do so. And I taught the very first week of field experience. Then there was the final reflection on field experience. So I was able to reflect about the entire 5 weeks of experience, and it was a really awesome time. And then my Weebly, it shows all of the work throughout IDT 3600 and field experience. So overall, there was a lot of content within IDT 3600, and I was able to see how much these ISTE standards are used throughout the entire course and how much I will truly use them in my future career as a teacher, especially with technology. So, thank you very much.